let's jump right into it with the baseline, as we always do. Last night, not a good night for the home team at Madison Square Garden. Knicks looking very disjointed on offense. Couldn't get a win against a Pistons team that was without Isaiah Stewart. Series tied 1-1 going to Detroit Thursday, Game 3. CP, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a disappointing performance, Ian, because on the backs of Game 1, where they really needed that 20-0 or 20-1 run to come back and win that game, I expected the Knicks to come back with a more focused energy and execution in Game 2. And then once again, they found themselves down by as much as 15 points in this game and needed another miracle comeback to try to win it. But by and large, Ian, I did not like the approach from the captain in this game in Jalen Brunson. I thought it was way too much isolation basketball, way too much hero ball, a lack of trust in his teammates, and a second half usage rate of 46%. I've been saying it since this playoff started. This should be a different playoff for Jalen Brunson because now he has help, but he has to lean on that help. And so for Karl-Anthony Towns to only have 3 shot attempts in the second half and none in the fourth quarter, there's a serious adjustment that this Knicks team needs to make, or they're going to be going to Cancun early.
1, 2, 3, Cancun. Kory, did this surprise you last night with the Pistons, shorthanded in the Garden, pulling out a win? I mean, what were your takeaways from watching that game?
Well, it did surprise me with how well they played defensively with Isaiah Stewart out. I mean, he's been their best low post defender all season long. So for them to be able to, have Karl-Anthony Towns only have 10 points and 0 shot attempts in the last period was pretty surprising. I mean, just also just giving away that Game 1 it turned out. I mean, if you can argue pretty much if it were not for that 21-0 run, this could be a 2-0 lead by Detroit. You could argue it with the way that they've come in there and just showed their composure in Madison Square Garden, but it didn't. But one thing that did not shock me was just the way that Detroit defended in the second game. Under JB Bickerstaff, they've been defensively sound all season long. This from that first game, what shocked me was them not getting any type of points in that 21-0 run. So the way they bounced back yesterday did not shock me too much. It was more so of the team that I pretty much have been seeing all season long and expect them to play like.
Yeah, impressive night for Cade Cunningham after Game 1, where Knicks, I thought, did a pretty good job on him. CP, he got going last night. And when were you in the building last night?
Yes, I was in the building last night. Yep.
What did you see from him that looked different?
Attacking and getting downhill. And that was part of the issue there for the Knicks. I expected the Pistons to get what I would call a Game 2 whistle, which is, putting pressure on the rim and forcing the referees to make a call there. But what I did like about Cade Cunningham is that a lot of times he didn't wait for the Knicks to send that pressure. He was attacking downhill, especially off of the live rebounds. He was going straight to the basket. And in those situations when, in certain respects, you have Karl-Anthony Towns as your last line of defense, it's easy money there. It's first to the cup, and Cade Cunningham was very, very aggressive. Additionally, they drew Jalen Brunson into those pick and roll actions several times, and they benefited from that. Cade Cunningham was able to get himself free and able to step into some mid-range shots where he is a very good basketball player. So it was a great adjustment by Cade. I expected that. But again, just the lack of defensive adjustments by the Knicks was disappointing at the same time.
It's funny, you mentioned the free throws. That was a big topic of conversation, starting with Tom Thibodeau after the game. And I was talking to another former coach, a longtime NBA coach, and he was saying, look, Detroit took the ball to the basket. The Knicks, sure, they were getting fouled on the perimeter. You could kind of take it or leave it. I understand the frustration, but they weren't taking the ball to the basket like the Pistons were. The Pistons were forcing the issue. The Knicks were not. So, yes, big free throw discrepancy. You can certainly argue that the Knicks maybe didn't get a fair whistle, but I thought this coach just made an interesting point that I hadn't thought about with regards to Pistons attacking, Knicks not attacking as much. And Kory, first of all, I should say first Pistons playoff win since 2008. How's the city with this team? Are they rallying around it? Is it like not the level of the Lions, but do they get around the Pistons when they're good? How's the city feeling?
Well, the city of Detroit loves the Detroit Pistons when they're winning. I mean, they love all of their teams when they're winning. I will say this: I think when the Lions are winning, that is a whole different beast in itself. So let's not. I don't even want to do the comparison on that. But right now, this city is buzzing off of the Pistons. Just like you just said, first playoff win since '08. It's a really big monumental feeling, a big monkey off the back. I mean, the last time they played in the playoffs, they were swept out. The last two times they were in the playoffs, so this is a big victory for them. And they're expecting big things from this team moving forward. I mean, they're arguably a year and a half ahead of their rebuild to where they should be. So everybody's starting to latch on pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic season, man. Credit to Trajan Langdon, JB Bickerstaff, and all the guys who have contributed. If you're not a Knicks fan and you're looking at this thing from the outside, it's one of the fun things about sports when you can see a group kind of come together like the Pistons have. But nobody in New York wants to hear that right now. So CP,
yeah, probably not.
Fourth quarter approach, man. Fourth quarter approach. We mentioned Karl Towns earlier. No shots in the fourth, just 3 shots in the second half. And you can talk about the coaching staff. You could talk about his teammates. You could talk about Towns as himself as far as why that happened and what went wrong. Your view on it.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all three. It's on Tibbs to devise a play for him. It's on the captain to get him the ball, Ian. I mean, if the three of us are sitting here playing basketball, I don't need a coach to tell me to pass you the ball when we're not getting into a rhythm. That's on Jalen Brunson. He's an all-star point guard. He's been doing this for years at a high level, and only 12 passes. Shout out to Tommy Beer for this stat. He's passed the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns 12 times total in this series. Where is the two-man game between your two all-stars? Where is the pick and pop? We saw, and I think it was my guys over at Knicks Film School, showed a play early in the game where Jalen's going one on 4. He's got Karl-Anthony Towns wide open for a pop-out 3. You've got to see that as a point guard, as a floor general, to get your guys involved. The Knicks right now are trying way too hard against a Pistons defense, but they're not playing smart. You have to move the ball against a stingy defense like this that is loaded with athleticism and speed and size in certain respects. And Karl-Anthony Towns with Tobias Harris on him, look, I wouldn't consider anything an easy matchup, but he has a beneficial matchup there. You've got to go to him. 0 free throw attempts for Karl-Anthony Towns, 0 shots in the fourth quarter. They've got to get back to the drawing board and get the big bodega involved.
And you mentioned earlier, or you tweeted, I should say, and I think you talked about it on your show, Knicks Fan TV, last night. And by the way, before I get to this, Knicks Fan TV watch party at Ainsworth in Manhattan on East 33rd for games 3 and 4. The website to find the tickets is kftvwatch.com. So you know what that atmosphere is going to be like in there if you want to be around Knicks fans, passionate Knicks fans watching games 3 and 4. CP, you were talking about, hey, the Knicks need to start Mitch. I saw that right? You were saying yes. Mitch over Josh Hart, and I want to ask you your thoughts on that lineup change. I don't think it'll happen, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I don't think it'll happen, but it's me advocating for what is necessary for this team, and that is more defense and more rebounding. Ian, they lost the rebounding battle by 14 points. 14 yesterday, 48-34. They had 7 offensive rebounds for the entire game. If you're going to be throwing shots up like they do, you need boards. And Karl-Anthony Towns, listen, he's a decent rebounder for his size, but he's not an opportunistic rebounder. That is Mitchell Robinson. He has that knack for the ball. You need Mitch's size out there as well defensively. And I think if you have Mitchell Robinson out there helping to get those offensive rebounds, you can limit Cade and these guys from getting out into transition and doing what they do best. But here it is in the fourth quarter. You're trying to get stops, and you don't have all of your best defenders out there. Look, the Hart situation, I love Hart. He's Mr. Intangibles for this team. But if you're going to have him out there being a negative on the offensive side, and his defense has now been consistently porous, then we've got to make that change. The Block Nest monster, Mitchell Robinson, needs those minutes with Karl-Anthony Towns to help him And in the event things break down on the perimeter, to slow down and disrupt the Pistons' rhythm. 20 minutes last night, and he's parked on the bench in the fourth quarter. And then Tom Thibodeau saying, "Oh man, we got killed on the boards." Well, where's your best rebounder? He's on the bench. That needs to be adjusted.